I can't stop reading tradwife influencer books. It's one of the biggest microgenres of the moment, and I have far and away a new favorite in Tradwife by Saratoga Schaefer, which is a fabulous name. Unlike the others I've read, which have all been some variety of thriller, this is a horror novel, which I think made a huge difference in my reading experience. I thought that the protagonist, Camille, was a really interesting figure in this conversation because her life is pretty much real to what she posts online, and she's not coerced into this lifestyle, but it's clear that she also doesn't totally buy into it. Camille has a vision of what she thinks life should look like in order for her to be happy. And unlike some of these other narrators that are clearly trying to convince the reader to believe them, she's trying to convince herself. What Camille wants most of all is a baby. And her absolutely revolting loser husband is not giving it to her. So she finds someone who does. And that's what makes this book different from the others in this category. This tradwife has a demon baby, and they get into some pretty nasty business. I don't want to spoil it, but if there are certain types of horror that you can't handle, you should probably look up the content warnings before reading this book. Me though, I'm a sick freak and I had an absolute blast. I thought this book was really funny, but I also thought Yesteryear was funny, so your mileage may vary. And they get into some pretty nasty business. While it does navigate and touch on a lot of complex topics like the toll that motherhood can take on a person, and gendered expectations, and how the environment that you grew up in can inform your future choices, it doesn't get too into the weeds on any of these topics. I have seen some negative reviews talking about how it didn't provide enough commentary or analysis, but that's not what I'm here for. I think that most people picking up these tradwife books already know that this is a harmful lifestyle to women who are perpetuating a lie online. We don't need someone to tell us that again. So why not poke some fun at the whole idea and maybe see one choose a different path and get her comeuppance? My biggest complaint about the three other tradwife books I read this year is that all of them had twists that either undercut the point or completely unraveled the logic of the story. And this book doesn't have that because it's horror forward. There is a medium-sized reveal toward the end, but it's not really a surprise to the reader if you've been paying attention. It's more about Camille realizing what's been in front of her the whole time. Overall, I thought this was a really solid 4-star read. There is another book also called Tradwife coming out in a few months, and that'll make 3 or 4. So I do think we're going to have to start coming up with new titles for these. But of course, I will read that one as well and see how it compares. So far, though, this is my number one.